What do Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and the ancient Greek philosopher Diogenes, who lives in a barrel, have in common? Only one thing: they were units. Those who weren't afraid to be different. Those who went beyond the usual and chose the path of loneliness, not as a punishment, but as a force. We used to be afraid of being alone, to be different from everyone else. But this is the most powerful source of success. It is loneliness that creates inner clarity. It is one who is able to see the world in a different way. Today, you will learn why the number one is not just a symbol of the beginning, but a sacred key to wealth, power, and personal strength. We will examine how the great ones, from Pythagoras to Bezos, use their dissimilarity to change the world. Watch this video to the end and you'll see loneliness is not a minus, but a privilege. This is a state in which ideas are born that can shake the earth. Are you ready to embark on the journey of a lone hero? Then let's go. In ancient Greece, the number one was considered a symbol of the absolute. It is not divided into anything but itself. The sages said, "A unit is a form from which everything else is born, but she herself is beyond forms." This number symbolized divine inviolability, primacy, and leadership. Pythagoras, one of the most influential philosophers and numerical mystics of antiquity, taught, "Odin is the source of all numbers, its cause and effect at the same time." According to him, unity is the seed of the universe. She doesn't look like anyone else, but no one will appear without her. Now look at Elon Musk. He went against the grain when everyone was laughing at electric cars, ridiculing the idea of colonizing Mars, and not believing in the possibility of guided missiles. He was alone against a billion-dollar industry, and he persevered anyway. Jeff Bezos quit a steady job on Wall Street to sell books online, in an era when the internet seemed like a toy. His parents thought he was crazy, but he knew that loneliness on the way was not a sign of failure, but of leadership. Being a unit means seeing things that others don't see. It's like standing on top of a cliff and looking the furthest away. People are laughing, shouting, and fussing from below. And you're in silence, in the clear, apart from the noise. So stood Prometheus, a lonely hero who dared to go against the will of the gods to give people fire. He was crucified, but his loneliness was the beginning of civilization. So stood Alexander the Great, a young man who grew up on the works of Aristotle. He wasn't looking for approval. He was going to a place where no human had ever set foot before. They called him a madman, but he knew that being the first meant being alone. Diogenes, the unit philosopher, chose to live in a barrel, ridiculing society and its values. But Alexander the Great himself came to him and asked, "How can I help you?" And Diogenes answered without looking at him, "Step back. You're blocking out the sun for me." True strength is not in a crowd, but in a loner who does not depend on power or recognition. He has only a mind and a will. That's enough to change the world. The number one is the archetype of the hero. A hero who leaves the village to find the truth, who loses friends, goes through pain, but returns with a gift, an idea, an invention, knowledge, inspiration. Why are many rich people single? Because wealth is not born in a crowd, but in silent labor, in sleepless nights, in silent decisions that no one will understand until it's too late. When Bezos created Amazon, he slept on the floor. His office was a warehouse. No one believed it, and he believed it himself. When Musk almost went broke in 2008, he had a choice: give up everything or invest his last money in launching a rocket. He chose the loneliness of risk, and he became a legend. True units do not live for the sake of recognition. They live for an idea. They don't seek approval. They're looking for the truth. Their path is the path of a philosopher, the silent one, thorny, lonely. But along the way, ideas are born, followed by millions. And if you now feel that you're not like everyone else, if you go your own way, do not find understanding, do not hear the applause, congratulations, you're on the right track. Unity is not a curse, it's a blessing, because you're the one who can see the invisible. Success is not following the rules. This is the creation of their own. Look at nature. The tree grows alone. The wind doesn't need a crowd. The ocean does not need approval, and only a person forgets that greatness is born out of silence. Loneliness is a crucible in which character is tempered. This is the desert from which the prophets return. Steve Jobs is another unit. He was kicked out of his own company. He's gone. 1. He returned and created an iPhone. Oprah Winfrey, who was bullied as a child and grew up without support, became the voice of millions because one day she chose leadership instead of sacrifice. Units are those who hear the inner voice louder than the outer cries. They believe when no one else does. And that's why they achieve what others think is impossible. Being the first is scary, lonely, but that's where magic is born. That's where empires are created. That's where the present begins. In numerology, the number 1 is the creator's energy. It doesn't wait for someone to make the first move. It makes it by itself. It doesn't look back. It paves the way. If you feel that it's hard for you, that you're alone, that no one understands you, remember, this is how the few feel. It's not a weakness. It's a signal for action towards growth. To choose, either you will disappear into the crowd or you will become what you were born to be. Every great journey begins alone. The Buddha left alone. Jesus prayed alone. Muhammad was meditating in a cave alone. It's not just a story. It's an archetype. For thousands of years, solitude has been a portal to power. And if you're alone, you're on the verge of change. The changes that you will bring not only to yourself, but also to the world. Because the units do not return empty-handed. They return with fire like Prometheus, with a dream like Martin Luther King, with a plan like Bezos, with a future like Musk. Loneliness is a chance to hear yourself. When there is noise around, you hear others. When it gets quiet, you hear the truth. Your otherness is a gift. The world is trying to make you like everyone else, but only those who remain themselves will become someone great. To be a unit is to be a beginning. The beginning of a family, a business, an era, a trend, a dream. It all starts with one thing. One person can change everything. History proves it. Every day, every century. But the units have an enemy. Fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of failure. But remember, this is an illusion created by the crowd to keep you within its boundaries. But if you break this circle, you will break out, and then the present begins. Growth, success, recognition, but not from others. First, from myself. From the moment you say, yes, I'm different, and that's my strength. From now on, you will stop looking for your own kind, and you'll start looking for yourself. And then one day, you turn around and see that others are following you. Because the power of the one is to inspire thousands. Real leadership is not about shouting and slogans. It is an inner silence and a firm step. A step taken towards your dreams, even if no one is walking nearby, even if they laugh at you, even if they criticize you. After all, they laughed at Tesla, the Wright brothers, and Jobs. But they believe, and you can. The main thing is not to give up, even if it seems like everything is falling apart. Remember, this is not the end. It's just the darkness before dawn. The darkness in which new ideas are born, new solutions, new worlds. And when you get up again, you will be different, seasoned, ready, one with myself. And then success will not escape you because you will become a magnet for opportunities, for people, for strength. You will be the one who has already won inside, and that's why the outside wins. This is what units do. They win, first in themselves, and then in the world, because their strength is not in quantity, but in depth, not in applause, but in clarity. If you're listening to this right now and you feel a response in your heart, know that you're not a casual viewer. You're a unit, too. You have a choice. Get lost among others, or become yourself, and start living the way everyone who dares to be themselves deserves to live. If you've watched this video to the end, it's a sign. You feel that you have this power. You're not a random person in a crowd. You are a unit, a spark that can ignite the flame of change. Accept your uniqueness. Stop waiting for approval. Start creating your destiny today. Don't let loneliness scare you, but inspire you. Greatness begins with a step into the unknown. Subscribe to the channel if you feel that this path is responding to you. Please like it and let the algorithms show this video to the same units like you. And write in the comments, I choose myself, if I am ready to go my own way. And if this video gets 50 likes, I'll release the next video on the topic. Number 8, how the energy of power and wealth affects your destiny. And you will learn how a force is formed that can control not only money, but also your own reality.